reddest cheeks
We're
ever.
live.
Awesome. Welcome to our fourth Ridge Runner live show. We're excited to be back, and we have two very special guests tonight, and I'm excited to hear their story. Tonight, we are joined by Jessica Kopelwitz and Clarissa Hitchon. Thanks for joining the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Awesome. So before we get too deep into things, what are you guys drinking tonight?
Tonight, we're actually not drinking beer. We are drinking 14 Hands Cabernet Sauvignon. It's just a favorite, easy drinking, good after run wine.
Yes. What about you guys?
John, what are you drinking?
Well, I am drinking some of my favorite. Got some Jackie O's, Java Stout. Always good to have some coffee stout in the evening.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
Look at you. And I've got the good old-fashioned Miller Lite, but it's in the Thunder Bunny 50K mug, pint glass. So it kind of makes up for it if it's in the pint glass.
I know, I saw that you poured it out of the can.
So Ridge Runner Nation really wants to know, who are you guys? So obviously you guys are ultra runners and you guys have recently kind of found the sport and kind of taken it by storm a little bit. So who are you? What should the Ridge Runner Nation know about you guys? Jessica, if you want to start.
Love it. Sure. My name is Jessica Kopelwitz. I am the owner of Fluff Bakery. And as you can imagine, I try to balance out the baking and all the sweets with some other healthy habits. Drinking aside. So I started running about 20 years ago, but I focused mainly on roads and got into marathon running and found trail running about 3 years ago through Timmery Francis, who owns Black Diamond Bicycles. Went out on a run with her, and I actually was in a triathlon class with both Timmery and Ashley Brown, who's also another biker. And that's kind of how I came around to being on the trails. So that's some of the basics.
Awesome. And then what about you?
Okay, Clarissa. I'm an occupational therapist. I work in the schools here in Athens for the ESC. I'm a mom of two boys. I feel like two little boys. That's always part of my story. I've been a runner for forever, it feels like. I started in high school when I was a freshman, so I was like 14 and I'm almost 40, so I've been running for a long time. I found the trails here. I mean, I've been running for a long time, but when I found the trails here, they just kind of like helped me, and I brought Timmery out on the first trail run, who then brought Jess out on her first trail run.
And I think I met Clarissa through Timmery, and another friend, Heidi Shaw. So it was kind of like full circle. Yeah.
So we just all got there.
So, yeah.
Here we are.
Awesome. So kind of going deeper into that, what was your guys' first run like? Do you remember the first time you're like consciously like, I'm going to go put on some running shoes, get out the door and see what this is like? What was that experience like for you guys both? And Clarissa, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I mean, I think I think I've always identified as a runner, like forever. So what I remember about like running loops in the gym when I was a kid, and like it was always a competition to see if I could beat all the boys. And that was always my favorite, which I always did. Yeah, and that was always my favorite part of it. But as far as like, I don't know, like the first time I remember like putting on running shoes and running was sometime in high school. And again, it was because I found this group of like women friends who, well, at the time, I guess we were just like girls, but anyway, and we just like ran. And so much of my running has always been connected to the friendships that I've made in it. And just like those conversations and those kinds of things. So, I don't know. I remember very clearly the first race I ever won. I remember very clearly like some of the best runs I've ever had. But the first time I laced up running shoes and ran, I don't know.
So what was the first race you won?
What is?
What was the first one that you won?
When I was in high school, my junior year, I had no idea. Like I just kind of started running, and I had no idea that I could run really. But anyway, so I just like ran this race, and it was a 5K in cross country, and I like crossed the finish line first, and then my parents were like, "Now we'll buy you running shoes." That's exactly how that worked.
I had to run on bare feet.
Up until that point, they just like let me run in whatever tennis shoes I had, but then they actually bought me real running shoes. So
you're basically sponsored back in the day.
Yeah, by my parents. Yes. Yeah, it was fun times. So yeah, that was fun. It was a good feeling.
Awesome. And Jessica?
Oh my gosh. I mean, mine's like polar opposite. I was like fat kid. I tried out for cross country in 8th grade and they were like, what is this woman? Like, what's this person doing? Last in like every race. I've never won a race. Yeah, but then I started getting back into it in my 20s to I was going to grad school and working full time. So I just did it because I got to go hang out with a bunch of my friends and we would just drink beer after and have fun. It was more of like a social thing. But when I finally got on the trails, that was when I was like, man, what have I been missing for 40 years? Yeah. Like, I mean, this is 3 years ago and I was like, this is it. Yeah, it's like magical. It's like you get out there and you just feel free. You know, they don't all feel that good. Most of them don't always feel good at all, but I'm still out there trying to get it done. So yeah, all the time, every day, most days. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys kind of gave us a little bit about your background. When I was kind of doing some research and whatnot of your guys' history, I thought it was kind of funny that you guys finished most recently the last Thunder Bunny race together. I thought that was kind of...
Yeah, that was awesome.
So how did that happen? Was it planned, or did you guys plan on running the whole race together? Or?
I mean, I kept telling Clarissa she should just go because at some point I think we did the first 15 pretty quickly. I mean, they were like 10-30 miles or something, and I was just like, holy shit, like there's no way I'm gonna be able to like keep this pace up. And I remember being in a group of people who I was like, why are we running with these people? Like they're fast. Like I'm trying to think. We were running like with Mike Cooper, like he was like running. Yeah, he was
Crystal.
He was running with, anyway, so yeah, we were in a group of people that we got caught up with. Actually met a bunch of people that we are friends with still. But yeah, we just kind of pushed each other. She pushed me in the beginning. She's really good at passing people on the trails, which is like a definite comes in handy, especially when you're on a single track like that. So she was like, we're going, let's go. And then towards the end, I had done a 50K before, so I kind of helped her like get through some of the later miles. So basically,
when we were like about to go down Hope Drive and like so I was like really ready to walk at that point, and she took like a caffeine goo or something, and she just kept running, and I was like, what? Well, she stopped, and she just kept going anyway. So it was like this perfect confluence of like when she was like feeling strong and I was feeling weak, and then vice versa. And also we really like to eat. So we just stayed at the aid stations. I mean, like way longer than anyone else.
Yeah.
And then we would pass them after we left the aid station. Right? Like, yeah. So anyway, so we just so we have like similar ideas of how long it was nice to sit or rest and like, I don't know, just snack. And keep running.
Enjoyed the race. Hang out with people. Yeah. And at Thunder Bunny, like Southeast Ohio trail runners, you know, like the aid stations are top notch. So I'm taking as many Oreos as I can get. All the burritos. All the food. Yeah. Salted potatoes, the best. Coke.
So good.
Yeah. All that stuff.
All the goodies. I just want to remind everyone that's in the live chat, if you guys have any questions for either of our two guests tonight, just make sure to throw them in the chat and we'll make sure to relay them along. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw those in.
Are there people in this set?
There are, but it's not just us. But kind of going off of that, this year's a big year. You guys have both some big races that you guys are signed up for, some returning races, some new experiences you guys put your name in the hat for. Talk about your goals for 2020 and some of the races you're running.
How about we bounce? Okay. Yeah. All right. So what we're both signed up for, the Ohio Backyard Ultra, that's coming up. We both spectated at it last year, separately, but kind of found it really intriguing and interesting. And so, we're signed up. I think we have slightly different goals. My hope is just to do 12 hours, so to try to get in 50 miles. So yeah, that's me for that one.
Yeah, and same. I was just, it's just going to be such a interesting, what can your body really do? My goal is to get to 100 miles.
She's gonna do it.
So we'll see. I mean, I feel like I haven't run a ton of ultras, but I've run enough to know that anything can happen. And sometimes your body's just, no, I'm not gonna go any further. But yeah, our hope is that it's just gonna be a good learning experience. The group that's gonna be out there, McChesney Ridge, is just beautiful out there. It's just gonna be a fun group of people. So we'll see where that takes us. And then the Ohio Backyard is kind of hoping to train for a longer race. I signed up for the Bighorn 100 out in Wyoming. And that was kind of a funny Strava conversation that went awry. so that's hopefully my first 100. And that's in June. So just trying to figure out how to train appropriately, not only for Ohio Backyard and using that as a test run, but then getting ready for, my first, hopefully 100. So
we're very excited.
Yeah. Which also that's,
for her.
Yeah. And that's something that, I decided last year that's really, I wanted to do a 100-miler at some point. And then it just got to the point, there's some other things happening in our lives. And it was just like, why not now? Let's just do it now. Let's figure it out. So yeah.
After Ohio Backyard Ultra, I think the next thing I'm signed up for, Thunder Bunny. So we're both doing Thunder Bunny too. Mm-hmm. I've only signed up for the 12K and the 25K this year. I have a friend, Audrey Larimer. She's really fast, and so I want to try to chase her because I think that would be fun.
Mm-hmm. That'd be so fast.
Yeah, you guys I know it'll be fun. It's a nice challenge.
Out. Yeah.
And then you're doing the 12 Thunder Bunny.
Yeah. I'm doing the 12K and the 50K, whatever that's called again. The
Big Bunny.
Yeah.
No, the bunny, double bunny.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's a fun name. Can't remember. Sorry, Michael.
We're promoting well.
Yeah.
And then after that, in June, I'm signed up for the Highland Skies 40, which it was like I was having a conversation with a friend, and they were kind of like, you should do this race. It's beautiful, and you have to sign up in 2 days. And I was like, okay. And it's really hilly. I kind of love hills. So I just think they're kind of fun, something to do. So that's some
crowns to get on Strava.
Whatever. So anyway, that's just kind of something to do.
We're not competitive though, but it's fun to get trophies.
Yeah.
On Strava and crowns.
And what are you doing after Bighorn?
Yeah, after Bighorn, who knows? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe some triathlons.
So I'm trying to get her to do this. She doesn't know that she's doing this, but so in October I turned 40 this year, and so I came up with this idea years and years ago to run the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim. So I've this whole year is kind of hopefully getting me ready to do that. And so I already booked a lodge at the Grand Canyon, and that's my plan, to recruit people to come and run with me. And I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I have no idea, but long-term goal, turning 40 goal. So, yeah.
That's the next 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's for me.
Yeah, me too.
Got a lot going on.
Then maybe Shawnee, if we can fit that in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
life is short.
What are you guys doing?
What do you got, Wesley?
I don't really know. I'm not signed up for anything right now, technically. So.
Well, you said you're on the wait list for OBU, right?
I am not signed up for a race right now.
But you're on the wait list.
I may be on a wait list, but I'm still not signed up for anything as of yesterday. So.
Sounds like you need to sign up for something.
So we all have to. Yeah, we have to pressure you. We all have to start pressuring. Do you succumb to pressure when it comes to races?
It doesn't take much to convince me to sign up for something. So.
It's basically like, this sounds fun. You should go do it. Sign up in 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of.
That's because we're all crazy.
Yeah. So kind of like evolving that a little bit. Like you guys obviously have had your friends kind of, go out, take you on your first trail run, and kind of like even like motivate you per se to sign up for these races. How impactful has it been to have some people around you, and maybe even dive into the Trail Sisters and how that group is going to evolve into something great as well?
Sure. I mean, I would be remiss not to first mention Jonathan, Ariana at Ohio Valley Running Company. I mean, those guys have been such great support and answered questions and helped us find gear and just like whatever you need. They've been awesome. So I shouldn't not talk about those guys. Just say like they've been such a huge inspiration and help in like figuring out ways to go about approaching races or gear you might need. Or Ariana's been very helpful with me too, just like with nutrition and stuff. But yeah, it's like it just having people around that are also have similar interests to you, but also are moms or you have backgrounds that kind of bring you together. You get out on the trails, it's just like everything's up for discussion, right? I mean, it's such a good place to just process and talk through things. Good run therapy, as we like to call it. Much healthier than drinking and doing whatever else you could get into. But yeah, that kind of led to I know for me, like having that support system and having other women around me who are doing these amazing things like Birth Bark, who we'll talk about later, but like Annie and Lauren, like out there like doing these races and just like reminding you that you can do whatever you want to do. That kind of led me to I found out about Trail Sisters, the national organization, through Instagram. Gina Lucrezi is the founder, and her main mission is to really educate, empower, and inform and kind of get the word out there about trail running and how amazing it can be and how it can just allow you to do a lot of other things. And so not only her Facebook group and her network has grown to retreats and to an online journal, and to, I think she's expanding into hiking groups and having just all these other events. There's, tons of merchandise, tons of ways to get involved. And I thought if, I was lucky enough to have just a few people that I met and who like encouraged me to get out there, I wanted to create more of another formal structure to like allow other people to know about all the cool things that I've gotten from trail running. So that's where we now have a Trail Sisters Athens chapter that we had our first run February 1st out at Stroud's, and we did Thunder Bunny, and it was crazy. Like we had 15 people out there who showed up. Some who had never run on the trail miles, and it was just so much fun. It was like energy was just mind-blowing. So it was like, oh my gosh, all these people want to do it, and just kind of giving people an outlet or enabling them to meet other people who have that same interest. That's kind of where that led to, and it's been awesome. So we're going to every other week Saturday at 8 a.m. and we're going to meet at the trail, go for another run, and we'll just keep it going.
We kind of started our own little Trail Sisters group, like collectively, with some of our friends, and I think that was like the genesis of, and this is all Jess's baby, but it was still like, I think that just like the idea of like friendships and just being held accountable sometimes, and like getting out when you don't want to, and just all the people that like or like you just know that you're gonna find that joy most likely if you could just get yourself out. And my God, the conversations, the happiness, the sadness, the tears, the whole thing has just been out on the trails, and it's been really awesome.
Pretty awesome, yeah.
I feel so lucky, like most of the time. So
I feel like it makes it so much more than just running sometimes when you get to bring in all those different aspects into it. And especially when you have that extra motivation to get up and run, or like to meet somebody. Like I think Wesley and I and Travis did a run a couple weeks ago in the freezing rain that I wouldn't have gone to if I wasn't supposed to meet somebody there. But it was still a good run, and we had a blast. But those things are always nice, and it's always really good to have that community around you.
And even if you're going out by yourself, just knowing that you've got like other people who are like going to encourage you, or you can share it with, and just having that, like, I don't know, it's truly like I found my other family on the trails, of like,
there's no judgment out there. That's what's pretty great. Some days you're going to have really good days, other days not so good, but we drag each other along, and it all adds up. All those miles mean something. And I know we always talk about how, like, for us, like my husband will just go out and run in the dark and he doesn't even think about it. And we're all like, don't you think about what would happen if someone approached you, or if there's a creeper on, out? I mean, you start thinking about that kind of stuff. And it's like, you don't really feel safe all the time. So to have a network of women that you can call and say, hey, I don't want to go out by myself, let's meet up and let's go for a run and hang out. I think that's going to be really huge for all of us. Like, it's not always fun it can get kind of scary. And even if it's like unfounded, I mean, we laugh because the only really weird encounter I've had is watching some naked dude run on a trail in front of me. And that was like, and apparently it's a thing.
I think we need more explanation on that. I think we need more of that story. That story that needs to come out right now.
Okay, so I think some of you may have heard this on Strava, but I was out for a long run one day, and it was right after a lot of storms came through Athens. And
summer?
Yeah, it was this past summer, spring, So and there was a lot of trees down on Hickory. So I was like already like just saying the F word like every 2 seconds. So I had to crawl over trees and through branches, and all of a sudden I hear this rustling up in front of me, and I kid you not, there was a dude sprinting, like jumping over trees, no shorts on, but he had his headband on and he had shoes on, and he was like holding shorts. And I just saw his butt, and I was like, what? Wait. And I just started laughing. So I'm like, this is so ridiculous. Why would this dude not be wearing shorts and climbing over trees? Like, that's just scary. Like, I mean, you guys know there's like thorns out there. There's like, you gotta watch out.
No, you don't want to be free like that.
Anyway, so I was like, maybe I just walked up on him and he was like taking a poop, like off to the side. I don't know, but it's like, no need, buddy. Just stay there. Like, I'm not gonna. Anyway, but then I put it on Strava that I saw this happen, and like Paul Barty and someone else was like, yeah, we've seen this guy before. And I'm like, did you guys not say anything to him? Like, hey, it's not okay to run naked. Like, I don't know if we saw him. I don't know. Anyway, so that's my story. And the worst part was I recognized him. Like,
I don't think you told me that.
I'd seen this guy out before. Hopefully he's not listening tonight. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Wear your shorts, dude.
Dude.
No one wants to see anything. I don't know, some more guy.
Anyway, we like to run together.
Yeah. Safety in numbers.
And there's a lot more laughing in numbers too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more laughing in numbers.
Yeah. Have you seen him, Wesley? Did you ever see people out there?
Never seen this.
And if he's watching right now, just drop your name in the comments below, and we can get more on this story.
Yeah, we need to get him on the show and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of awesome. That, like, obviously, Trail Sisters Ohio Athens branch has kind of taken off a little bit. And I guess there's a couple of different elements to this. But what would you tell someone that's like afraid to join the group, maybe for the first time, that has never really joined a running group before? And like, how would you welcome them per se? Or what's different about Trail Sisters than another group?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I talk to people about it, the first thing they say is like, "Oh, I'm so slow," or "I would never be able to keep up." And I think just knowing that it's like the whole point is to be as inclusive as possible. And we really, I mean, we always joke that like when you walk in the woods, you're just hiking. Like it's not walking, it's hiking, and that's like what you do in the woods too. So walking is just as grand as anything, which is like my favorite thing when I first started doing trail running. Is like everyone walked up the hills. I was like, I love this. Anyway, so I just feel like that's usually the question that when I brought it up to people. Some people I hear a lot about people tripping and worrying about tripping and falling because of obstacles. But again, you just get to go a little bit slower and take in the scenery and I was like, yeah, I fall all the time. Like truly, I fall all the time.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, and so so it's like part of it. And what's great about falling is that you just like laugh. Everyone checks in, make sure you're okay. And then you just get back up and keep going. Those have been the two biggest concerns that I've answered.
For sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, we just have fun. It's not about going a certain speed. This past time when we ran, we had a 2-mile option and a 4-mile option. Everyone went 4 miles. Like everyone was like, why would we only run 2? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I just thought not everyone would want to go that far. But yeah, and we're always about just, you kind of find people that you end up running with, who you naturally get into a conversation with. And it's not a group that discriminates. We're all kind of geeky and quirky in our own ways. And there's a spot for everybody. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, I should say I've competed, in other road marathons, and I've done triathlons. It's a different mindset. I mean, not that people who run ultras aren't competitive, or who trail run aren't competitive. We are, but it's just a different, I don't know, it's just a different way of going about it.
You like each other. I don't know. I feel like you like enjoy, I don't know. You say hi, thanks. You help someone up when they need to be helped up. You let them, you offer to share your food with them. I don't know. I mean, it's a nice community for sure.
Until we're in second place and want to pass somebody. No, I'm just kidding. Never do that. We would never do that.
We're really nice.
Yeah. But it's a fun group, and again, it's like all levels. So, and it's all ages too. So this past time, also it was like people who were in school and college. We're in a college town, so it's pretty awesome. Like that makes me feel younger, just like being around them. And then it's just fun to support each other, and just being able to give each other advice. Like that's all pretty great. But yeah, all ages.
All abilities.
Yeah, I always see women who are, older than me, and I'm just like, man, I hope I'm still doing that like in 20 years. I hope so.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a good strength program to be out there in the woods.
For sure. And I think
kinder to your body.
Yeah. So much better.
Definitely. Heidi wants to know that what is your favorite piece of gear? And if don't say the vest that she currently has.
She does still have my vest. That is my favorite vest. Oh wow.
Favorite piece of gear?
Yeah. I mean,
Jess just recently got me a buff that I love. It's somewhere in here. That's a really nice thing because
those are fun.
They're really nice because we put on my ears and take it. I mean, that's so nerdy of me, but yeah, I like this buff that I wear. I like my vest too. I like my hand. I don't know.
Vests are a game changer.
A game changer.
Yeah, and
it can be a pack mule. Pack mule.
All the food. That's why I always laugh because people are like, why did you watch some of the elites and they have like one thing of they're running like 50 miles and they have like one bottle and they have nothing. And then I'm there, like I'm running like 15 miler and I'm like ready for a week. Like if I get stuck out there, I'm gonna make sure I'm ready for whatever comes. But the vests are great. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, shoes. Like I'm all about. I love my Hoka Torrents. Big fan. I also wear Ultras Lone Peaks. That's my other ones. But I bust out of those all the time. So anyway, tear those shoes up.
Don't say the vest you're currently wearing. Thanks, Heidi.
That's awesome.
Awesome. And like I said, if anyone else has any questions, make sure to drop those in the comments below and we'll get those transferred over. Obviously you guys have this community that you guys have been forming. How do you tap into, obviously Athens is a college town. How do you tap into that college demographic? Because obviously you have a couple people that are in the college age coming out. Is that like something that you want to kind of get into more, or how do you think you can effectively market Trail Sisters in that way?
I don't know. I was thinking about I like to play ultimate frisbee as well, and that's as I do the motion. Anyway, I often play with the young ones, as I like to call them. But there was this girl, and I offered, and she was like talking about running and wanted to run on trails. I was like, I will take you, but it never happened. But I just think being like offering to be the mentor, or even just be like, let's go, let's just do it, and just kind of getting out there. And offering to just like go on runs. And I mean, because again, as a woman, it can be, I mean, I've also talked to a couple of people who are like, oh, I never run without mace, or I never run without pepper spray or something. And like, it's a real concern for people. You know, they're afraid to go around the lake, to be that far away from people. And so I think just having someone who's got maybe that confidence or the practice and doing it a lot, and knowing where you're going, all that stuff can be really helpful and just kind of reduce some of that fear factor a little bit. But yeah, running all the time everywhere, and so they maybe see you, and so I'm not asking.
I think another thing too, it's like we've probably had 3 women who were in school still who came to the Trail Sisters, and they're already telling their friends. And so I think it's going to get passed that way organically too. I also have a business uptown where we're doing a lot of push out of there too, just like, hey, as you know, as people are like eating, I talk to it. A lot of my employees who work there are younger, so they know about it, and they know that I'm not some like training to a 100-miler. So I talk about that. So that's really kind of getting people intrigued, and they're like, oh, if this like old lady can do it, you know, I probably can do it too. So
yeah, we kind of talk about running all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that helps.
And I'm the oldest in my group, so it's like
a minute.
A little bit. So, but I always laugh because I'm like, you know, you're talking about me, like I'm over 40. I'm like 40 plus, but there's a lot of fast women out there too in our community, which is really fun too, because it's like just a lot of knowledge out there, and people who've done a lot of racing, and both men and women, which is really great. And everyone's been really, you know, open to sharing, which is good teaching. So I see that growing. I mean, OU may be shrinking a little bit, but there's still lots of people who, you know, love the outdoors, and so.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. And I think it kind of just like takes us back to, I know that's like one of my passions is obviously getting more young people in the sport. Obviously I kind of joined it pretty young, but trying to get more people involved because it's such a great opportunity to get out on the trails and do something other than day drinking all day on Saturdays. So definitely something I'm passionate about.
It makes the drinking so much better if you run first.
Yeah, the beer tastes a lot better.
It tastes really good, and you need the calories.
Exactly. So kind of, I know this is such a new organization, Athens, but I always love looking like long term. Where do you see Trail Sisters in 5 years?
Good question.
Yeah, well, one of my hopes is that, and I actually talked to Michael Owen about this, is that they are another organization that really supports a lot of the races locally. So my hope is that will participate in a lot of the races, you know, help with volunteering, help with some of the trail maintenance, because that was one thing too where it's like that's a ongoing challenge, but there's not a lot of formal connections to kind of get all the runners together. And then also to use it as a vehicle to raise money for particular things like the Conservancy, and focusing now on growing it to the point where people are aware of like this, hey, we need these trails. We need to make sure that these trails are preserved, and our outdoors are taken care of. So that's kind of the bigger picture. We use it as a tool to educate people about the need for how important the outdoors is, because all of us, we have kids too. I have a 4.5-year-old little boy, and he loves to be out and play. He loves to play outside. So it's like, I want to make sure all those resources are there for him too. And he probably is going to be a runner. I mean, that's another reason I run, is because I'm trying to keep up with him. So, so that's the bigger picture, is like, how can we as a group do more, not only for ourselves and for other runners, but for our community. So that's the bigger picture.
I think you also mentioned that you want, like, eventually for the, like, not even to have to be organized, but for people to start like branching off and doing their own running and finding their own group within it, and not just meeting, but then just getting out there, and just, I mean, in general, more representation of women in the sport, I think, is a nice thing, just kind of getting women out there and making those connections. And then, if they're it just keeps growing in that way too. I mean, I love like seeing people I don't know running the trails, like honestly, like women, because it's most of the time I know everyone. And so if I don't know them, it's like, awesome. That's so great that there's new people out here. And that makes me really happy.
Yeah, it is awesome. That is for sure.
How do you think the new Bailey's trail system is going to help affect the Trail Sisters and how that grows now being a
Hopefully
destination?
More places to go.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet.
Yeah, we keep talking about trying to get over there, but I think it's like with all the mud now, it's going to be, the trails aren't as packed, so that's a challenge. But I think it's going to be great for bringing more people into the area, and getting people to get out and about in Athens and Strouds, and also having that as an outlet. It's a huge opportunity, especially for our economy here. And I think it's huge to bring more people in and to it's a beautiful place. So every time we run the trails, we're like, oh, we need to get more people out here so they can see. We always feel like there's just, a lot of opportunity to do more racing and to do more events. So we want to support Southeast Ohio trail runners in that. That's kind of the push.
Definitely. I just think that'd be like really cool if like there was 10 or 15 of you guys all signed up for one race and you guys all go together as like a great.
I know. I like fantasize about like a trail racing Trail Sisters racing team. Would that be fun? I don't know. I'm like, let's get faster too. I mean, it's not all about that, but sometimes it can be fun.
Yeah. Well, and I was out at, I actually sent Michael Owen a message about, I was at a Pleasant Hill winery and I was like, oh my gosh, I know the owner out there, and I'm like, we should do a 5K out here just to raise some money for some events. Like maybe we even help donate to Thunder Bunny, but just doing some fun events like that just to have fun and to raise money for causes we think are important. So all kinds of fun ideas.
That's awesome. You guys are gonna be like
mastermind.
You guys are gonna be like running loops at Ohio Backyard Ultra, just recruiting people as you go today.
I know, we're gonna conserve some of that energy. I don't know. You tell us how that's gonna go. Yeah, we're already strategizing.
So, what is your strategy? I guess I'm kind of jumping back, but obviously, you guys want to take on more races as a group and obviously by yourselves as well. So, what are some strategies you have going into Ohio's Backyard Ultra and I guess even Bighorn or your rim to rim?
I think what fascinates me most about the Ohio Backyard Ultra is like coming from like a collegiate running standpoint, the idea of like having to run slower, like learning how to like truly pace myself, and like that's the focus, instead of like trying to go faster. So I think that's going to be a fascinating like brain switch, which is, I don't know, we've been talking about that some, is like how do you pace yourself to run 8, 12, 24 hours? That's a whole new, and especially when it's truly not about your time. It's just, I mean, there's a time, the hour, but it's not about how fast you can go. It's about how much you can push yourself. That's just figuring that out. Nutrition, staying warm. I get cold really easily. I'm kind of worried about that.
I'm also just caffeine intake, trying to figure that out. Nutrition, just figuring out how much to eat and when, and those are like ongoing challenges. I know most of us, you kind of try to figure that out as you're doing your longer runs, but that's always like, that's an ongoing challenge. Is like, are you taking enough in? Are you drinking enough? Are you going slow enough? Do you sleep? Do you not sleep? How do you stay warm? How do you take bathroom breaks? Like all that stuff. Like, it's my biggest concern. Am I going to have coffee? I'm going to have bathroom breaks. That's going to be my biggest part. The biggest challenge there.
I was thinking about that today.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to have we already have a crew chief, Heidi Shaw. She's going to be there cooking us food and making sure we stay organized when we can't think anymore. I think that's a big part of it also, is taking the guesswork out of what we might need. So it's like, okay, here's a list of things that we've discussed that we're going to have ready to go, and having it organized enough so we don't have to think about it. So it's just like, when I grunt or when I grunt twice, Heidi will know like that she wants a pierogi. Like that's what she needs. Or like when, when you're losing it and you're like, my hands are just cold, like, where are those extra gloves at and stuff. So, having a person there too kind of knows you enough to know what you need before you need it. I think that's probably
a great cheerleader.
Yeah. Great cheerleader. And also what kind of music you like, because I feel like that's a big part too. Like, is she going to be playing the music that I need at mile, I don't know, the last
85?
Yeah. Like what?
So excited for
what
Jess.
song do I need to like get it done. And then Harvey Lewis is going to be there and all these other amazing people. But like, I don't know if you know Harvey Lewis, but I just Googled him and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to like, there's going to be a lot to learn from people who are going to be there. And like Annie Lang, who like helped crew Maggie Gooderl, like she's going to be there. Like she's, you know, I think she's going to be there. I don't know if she's like crewing for someone or not, but there's going to be all this knowledge there too. And I'm just going to be like, asking to suck it up. Like, I just want to be around all these people who've been there, done that. So
yeah, like
learning.
As an outsider right now looking in, that race has an unbelievable amount of competition going into it this year. There's also people obviously like you guys who have potential to crush distance PRs and kind of just like take things to a new level as well. So like the top of the field is stacked, but then the middle is also like right there with them. So I think that's what makes that race super exciting this year.
Yeah.
What's your experience? I mean, do you have any advice for us newbies?
I would say don't go too fast and to find your comfort zone on the time. So I was kind of, my next question is like, do you guys have a time goal for each loop? I know personally, like people don't want to take too much time to rest, but you also don't want to like be rushing when you get back in. So how much time do you guys think you'll need? Like,
I've thought about, again, I love the Birth. You introduced us to the Birth Bar podcast.
Yeah, I think either Heidi or
Yeah. So anyway, so I've listened to that podcast a lot, and they've talked about doing like bigs and OBU and those things. And so, so in my head, because listening to that, it was like about 52 minutes would be the goal or so. Just that would be like give you enough time. Again, I really worry about being cold, so you don't want to like cool down too much and just waiting. I also like to eat, so making sure I have enough time to do that. That's my thought. 50, but that also sounds incredibly slow. So trying to figure out how to pace it, not in a bad way, but just like, you know, and I've never been on this course, but just trying to figure out how to just really walk when you need to walk instead of running all the time. Especially just like legitimately walking the hills or whatever.
Yeah, that first hill. Yeah. But just and like you said, find that pace. So we're going to actually do
a training day.
Yeah. So on Monday, I think we're Monday for sure.
Monday the 17th.
This coming Monday, we're going to start maybe around 6 a.m. and we're going to do out near cells. We'll probably put some more information out there, but we're going to do about 8 hours of loops. Where we kind of practice pacing. So that's coming up on this Monday, and then we can put some more information out there. If people want to join, but yeah, just getting comfortable in a pace and kind of figuring out what we feel like is sustainable. Because it's like, when you think about it, you think, okay, so in 24 hours, I could potentially run 100, depending on
you can.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
with this particular pace, so it's like. Trying out that pace enough where you feel comfortable. But yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, again, I've never run 100 miles. I've run 50, and I even went up too fast for that. I felt pretty good. I tweaked my knee like
she couldn't bend her knee for after 10 miles, and then she did 40 more.
Yeah, that got really complicated coming down hills.
True story.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, that was but again, it's like the excitement, the adrenaline keeps you going, and that helps.
For 40 miles without bending your knee, I don't know. That's what that is. I don't know if that's adrenaline anymore.
Yeah.
That's something.
I didn't hurt anything long term. That was, I knew it hurt, but I also figured, you know, what the hell? I'm finishing this damn race. The last 3 miles was like I was just kept going. Yeah.
What race was that? Sorry about that.
That was Tuscazor 50. They have a 50 mile and a 100 miler, and I grew up 10 minutes from there, from Camp Tuscazor, so it was like right in my backyard. All the elevations in the last, I don't know, like 5 miles, it's really like just kind of fucks with you, but it's really fun. But it's beautiful. So that was a fun course, and I ended up meeting a ton of people, and I actually met people there too where I ran with a guy whose daughter was at OU, and we had that conversation, and we talked about our jobs, and he kind of kept me going. And then finally he was like, you just go. Like I just ran ahead, and yeah, I was just like, I'm getting this race done. My knee's not going to hold up much longer. So yeah.
Does that sound about right? 52 minutes?
Yeah, that's kind of, I think I was like 52, 53. It was always my like sweet spot zone. It's definitely tough because like on paper, like the loop seems so simple. Like if you have so much time, but no matter how you chop it up, it's still a 24-hour 100 miler, which is still a very solid 100-mile race. So it's just kind of like,
so fast.
It's just, it just kind of builds up quick on you. So as long as you can get through the night, you'll be good.
Why did you stop?
I kind of had.
Why did you stop? There's no judgment in there.
No, I'm just asking.
I was kind of behind the 8 ball on like nutrition and a bunch of other things. So I think I had like 3 loops in a row where I came with like 2 minutes to spare every single time. So that kind of made things difficult. And then like once I went on one of them, I just walked like right back down. It was like, okay, I'm done at 83. But definitely
which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely a fun event. If anyone hasn't checked it out yet, if for more information on your guys' training run on Monday, where can people find you on social media or Facebook?
So I do have a Trail Sisters Facebook page, Trail Sisters Athens Facebook page out there. I'm also a Jessica, Kopelwitz. So that's my Facebook name.
And your real name.
That's my Facebook name and my real name. Sorry.
It's incredible.
My Instagram is Fluff Bakery Athens. So I still don't have a separate account. I just go by Fluff Bakery, which is so funny. People are always like, actually, when we ran Thunder Bunny, we ran with a bunch of guys. Johnny Payne is one of them. I don't know if he's listening tonight, but really good dude. But they would just call me the Fluff. They were like, Fluffy. They were like, which is just funny and hilarious. I mean,
great.
Yeah, and I don't even like it doesn't even I feel very special when people call me Fluffy. But I'm at Fluff Bakery Athens. So
yeah, I have nothing fancy. I have my real name and my Instagram name. It's the same thing.
She's formerly known as
I think, but we also put it on Strava.
Oh yeah,
I think we can put it on Strava too. Again, under my real name.
Is that like a group or is it just like under your guys'?
Just like under. I think we'll just make I was thinking about just putting it on there because there is a nice little running. I mean, I like it as another running community thing.
Someone's commenting on my cake post from today on Fluff Bakery on my Instagram. It just popped up over your face. I'm sorry.
Cake sounds good.
Yeah.
But no, I think I would love. I mean, again, it's just like all about community, and that has been by far my most favorite part of this, like whole experience with like finding the trails, and Athens. And it definitely, when I first started, it was by myself. And I kind of really needed it for self-regulation and just to cope with some really hard things I was going through in life. And here I am. I guess I've been running on the trails here for about 7 years, with having 2 kids in between there. So that definitely took some breaks. And I'm still using it for self-regulation and to go through hard things. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Definitely. Just a reminder, we've got to probably got like 10 minutes left or so. So if anyone has any questions in the chat, feel free to throw those in there. One question that was kind of brought up is Jessica wanted to ask us to ask her was, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought I'd have an answer for that, and I don't even have an answer.
We have no notes. Can you tell? No notes.
I don't have an answer. That's even the worst part. I just want to, I don't want to.
She wants to keep running.
Yeah, I just want to kind of run for a long time and just use it to, I need a sponsor. Fluff Bakery is going to be my sponsor. Fluff Bakery is my current sponsor right now, but I need some a little bit more capital. Yeah. Maybe some better shoes. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I would like to, I would like to get more involved in helping to create fun events for people to do, because I feel like when people talk about running, and it's like people get intimidated by that, and it's like anyone can do that. I mean, if you are able-bodied and you can walk, a lot of times you could probably jog too, or just walk. And it's like, I feel like so many people they feel like if they can't go out and run a mile, they don't do it. And it's like, that's ridiculous. Just get out and go for we all know that sometimes it just takes 10 minutes of getting out there. I think that's the rule, like, hey, try for 10 minutes. And then if you don't feel like doing it, come back. It's like whoever just goes up for 10 minutes. Even when it's pouring down rain or it's freezing rain, right?
Yeah, you do. Good for you.
No shame.
I also really love, it's like there's such the misconception. And I think one of the reasons I love trails, having again been like a road runner and like, you know, time and also that was so important to me for so many years, like the idea that you get on the trails and it just obliterates all of that, because there's mud and there's rocks and there's roots and there's hills and all these things. And so you really just to get to put away or put aside some of that, like, and for me, the inner competitor and just the, you know, I can just, so people are always like, oh my God, you ran for, you know, however many miles, you know, and I'd be like, yeah, but I ate and I walked and I took pictures and I like yelled how lucky I am and how happy I am. And I just like had fun. And I think that just, again, that's like, that has been very liberating for me. Probably why I love it so much too.
And if you run into Earl the Pearl, he will talk for a while. You just have to bring him along for the ride.
We need him back on.
Yeah, our trail correspondent's been missing for a while.
He's out lost on the trails talking to somebody. That's what he's doing.
Always is. It sounds like trail running's an event for you guys. Obviously, like just an experience that like is absolutely incredible. I know you have a poster in front of you about another event coming up that you guys are.
Oh yeah, we do have to show for this.
Okay, so this is actually on. It's a Facebook event on Fluff Bakery. You guys can find it. But it's Annie Lang and Lauren Kraft from Birth Barf Podcast. Shout out to those badass ladies who've done so many different events and finished Trans Rockies this past summer.
They did ultra racing. They did adventure racing.
Yeah, adventure
nationals.
racing.
They went to nationals. We're real fangirls.
Yeah,
I
just wanna. Yeah, they're so freaking hilarious and just.
And they're so real. And I think again, it's just these like quote unquote normal people doing extraordinary things, which is just a really I don't know.
It's inspiring. And they drink beer.
And they
And they also wear makeup and stuff during, like they have fun with it too and wear costumes. It's fun.
Definitely. And that
event, it's just like such honesty. Okay.
Oh, that event, 21st.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I forgot. Yeah, so it's Friday the 21st, starting at 6:30. They are going to come in and we're going to do appetizers. We have cash bar and we have espresso, coffee, but we're going to feed people where the food's free. They're going to talk about their adventures starting at about 7 o'clock, and we're just going to hang out, have a meet and greet. That's Friday, February the 21st day. We're doing about a 5 mile, and then we're going to do a 1 loop and then a 2 loop run with the ladies starting at Ohio Valley Running Company. And that starts at 9 a.m. on the 22nd of February. So they're staying over and hanging out in Athens. We'll try not to get them into too much trouble the night before.
Maybe a little drinking.
Yeah, maybe a little drinking, but we'll see what happens. And then Fluff Bakery will also do some bagels and pastries and coffee and stuff at Ohio Valley Running Company that Saturday too.
It's open to everyone.
Yeah, and everyone just come on out. It should be a lot of fun. Ohio Valley Running Company also has their marathon training program that starts a little bit earlier, I think at 8 a.m. on that Saturday. So we're hoping to, get some different people together and go for some runs. It should be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be an awesome event. Obviously, that's probably your guys' podcast recommendation. What other book, movie, or TV shows do you guys watch on the daily basis that you'd recommend to the viewers?
Oh my God.
So Trail Sisters actually just had a post that they put up that was like a link of all these women and running, or just running videos, but a lot of them are movies, shorts, and a lot of them were women. I love watching anything with Courtney Dauwalter. I know that's maybe cliche, but I just love her attitude and her intensity. I watched this really fun one about someone getting a fastest known time. I don't know. That was really fun. It's really inspiring. I just, on a Friday night, just sat there and drank and watched
running on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. We do that quite often, actually. There's a podcast that we listen to. I listened to that one. I listened to Trail Running Women.
Science of Ultra
Running is another one that I can enjoy.
And Coopcast, I just got into Coopcast podcast. Love that. He's really good.
Coopcast podcast.
Yeah, Coopcast. Books.
I don't really read books.
Yeah, I actually just read. This is like total geekiness, but I just read North by Scott Jurek and his wife Jenny, which was really interesting. Yeah, and it was like from both their points of view. I just read Ultra Running Mom too from Holly Zimmerman, and she's done like crazy.
The Chrissy Mole one, that's the training book that you.
Yeah, Christy Mail, I think. Yeah. So I've used Christy Mail's books for like all my training. Yeah.
Yeah, we used it for the 50K. That just.
And now the 100-miler. So. I actually I always hit up. I always talk to Ariana and Jonathan. I talked to made Michael Owen sit down with me. I didn't make him. I asked him, and he did. He's such a nice guy. He sat down with me last week, and we just talked about Bighorn 100 because he's run that before, and he's a great resource. And his wife Bobby's amazing too. She's really super sweet and just is helpful and knowledgeable. But yeah, those are some fun. Yeah, I mean, you go down a rabbit hole if you go on YouTube and look up ultra running.
Oh, I watched your video before I ran the 50K, the Thunder Bunny 50K. You have your live video of you doing it, and that was super helpful. Jess told me about that.
Yeah.
And I think you bonked at one point, and I was like, I will not bonk. I will eat more.
That was a typical strategy for me back in the day. Just bonk really hard at these races.
Don't bonk. It was really helpful, I gotta say.
You're
so
just
thank you.
Feel like shit.
Yeah. I'm
glad it helped you.
Yeah, it did. It really did help me. It really did. I ate a lot, so that's what I need to do. So yeah,
that's the best part though. Eating a lot.
It's a great part for sure. Yeah.
So before we close out, I always love kind of just getting one big topic on the board. Is kind of like trail running has progressed so much in the past 10, 20, 30 years going back. Where do you see trail running in 10 years? And where do you see yourselves in trail running?
Oh man.
I mean, I see a lot more, again, just the events getting bigger, which again, that's a challenge, but just more people out on the trails. And we see our kids being part of it and being part of those events. That's going to be huge. And it being more of a mainstream thing, which again, that has, as ultra runners like you, it's like your sport and it's kind of quirky, but you want to share it with other people because you know how amazing it is. So I think it might just become more, this is what people do for their other outlet. Like instead of going to the gym, they just go out to the woods. So,
and I mean, I do think too, it's something that I've neglected, but the trail maintenance piece of it, or just really trying to keep up the trail system because it does mean so much to me. And so that's a personal goal, trying to improve that.
More time out there.
Yeah, more time helping, maintain, growing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, again, more women in the sport. Yeah.
More women out in the trails, cutting down trees.
Yeah.
Helping to clear trails.
Yeah, all the things.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Definitely. Well, once again, thank you, Jessica and Clarissa, for joining us on the show tonight and sharing your story all about Trail Sisters and whatnot. Feel free to check out their Facebook page. It's at Trail Sisters Ohio on Facebook, and we'll put a link in the description below so you can find that super easily. Other Regeneration news, we've got a weekly rundown still on the way this week, and more exciting guests lined up in the next coming week on Ridge Runner Lives. So stay tuned to find out who they are. But really appreciate you guys joining the show tonight.
Yay.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks, Wesley. Thanks, John. We really, we appreciate the airtime.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
For being
Have
here.
We'll see you out
a great night, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.